play suit and skirt. Now you can make this with just the play suit or just the skirt or both of them together. I'm doing both of them together, so I've got the skirt on the front, play suit at the back. The skirt and play suit are wrong sides, so right side of the play suit, wrong side of the skirt, okay, and those are together. So then you're going to take your bias that you either bought or made earlier. I'm just going to cut a little bit off, and then open it. So this is double fold bias. So before, when we were doing the legs, we were using single fold bias. So double fold bias is basically a flat piece folded in to meet the edges and then folded in again. Right, so we'll use this as a binding to make a continuous bound placket. So you unfold your bias and then you unfold it again, and you want to take the raw edge of the first one, so right sides together. We'll start, this time we're going to pin all along the placket. And I know this placket down here kind of forms a V, so you want to flatten it out as much as you can. And you'll see in a minute that it's not going to be completely flat, right? There's going to be a little, I don't know what you call it, wedge or something. So where the V comes, there'll be a spot where your bias is actually on top of your placket, and that's fine. You want that to happen because if you tried to push it right up the top here, you'd get a really big lump in your skirt. So you only want a little lump in your skirt, so you kind of push it down a little bit, right? And then we're going to sew in that first fold line of the bias. So stick your needle in. Make sure with this one, I want you to kind of keep looking all the way through. So you'll get to a point where this will be quite easy, right? It's not hard, but you're still going to want to keep opening it up and looking and making sure that your underneath is sitting nice and flat. The more you prep now, the more you pay attention now, the better off you're going to be towards the end. So cut off the part you don't need. Then you're going to flip it again and then push the binding over. So you will see some of the binding from the front, and then you'll see some of the binding from the back. I'm just going to pin this in so that you guys can see it properly. And you can see what it's going to look like when it's finished as well. So that's a continuous bound placket. Basically it just means it's all in one U. And what's going to happen down here is there will be like a little bit of a I don't know, a lump kind of thing, because you are sewing off a V. Anyway, so we'll start with sewing that bit down, which we'll do as carefully as possible so that you make sure you catch all your what do you call it, the back of your binding. So nice and carefully, and again stop and readjust as much as you need to, because you don't want to have to go back and try and redo it again later. Okay, so if you've measured properly and you've gone carefully and slowly, you should have all your stitching at the back caught nicely and neatly. And of course at the front is, the front is the front, so it's neat. Okay, so now that you've finished your placket, you're going to take your skirt, so skirt and the skirt right sides together. Hang on, I'm going to chop this top of the placket off that I I don't need because it's confusing me. Okay, so you put your two tops together and you'll find that you've formed like a little U shape at the top here. And what you're going to do is sew from that corner of the U in a 45-degree angle. Take kind of good notice of this, right? Do it whichever way happens to be easiest for you. Because this part's kind of important. So put your needle in first, go down to your corner, and then try and go back and forth a couple of times to make a nice strong seam. And okay, so you can see that I've got this like 45-degree to the edge of the U thing. And you'll find when you open it up, it means that your placket will come together nicely. There.